I walked into that dining room already guilty in their eyes. My shirt stained with grease, my hands raw from twisting bolts on a stranger's broken down Buick. The clock had betrayed me, and her parents didn't need excuses. They already hated me. Her father's jaw tightened the second I stepped inside. Her mother's gaze slid over me like I was dirt clinging to her daughter's shoes. And beside them sat my girlfriend, Emma, pretending to defend me, but her silence was louder than words. Late, her father said flatly, and dressed like that? I swallowed. A woman's car broke down on the road. I helped her get it running again. He smirked. Of course you did. I didn't argue. Not then. I just took my seat at the table and felt the cold judgment wrap around me like a noose. We met in college. Emma had walked into my life with laughter, books spilling out of her bag, and the kind of smile that made me think I'd finally found someone worth holding on to. I loved her fiercely, but her parents saw me as a threat to the carefully curated image they wanted for her. They came from old money. I came from oil-stained hands and second-hand clothes. At first, I thought I could win them over with honesty, with effort. But slowly, I realized it wasn't about who I was. It was about who I wasn't. And Emma, she let their contempt seep into her veins. The signs came slowly. A shift in her tone, the way she stopped introducing me to friends, the secretive phone calls. Until one night, her phone lit up in my hands. A message from her father. Don't worry, we'll take care of him. Just keep stringing him along until we finalize the engagement with Daniel. Daniel, a family friend, wealthy, approved, perfect. That was the night my love curdled into something sharper. They thought I'd break quietly, walk away humiliated, but I don't break. I build, I fix, I plan. So when her parents invited me to that dinner, her father smirking, her mother sneering, I agreed, not to beg for their approval, but to end their little game. The irony was almost poetic. The woman I had helped on the roadside, her car hissing steam, was no ordinary stranger. She was Margaret Wilkes, the new president of the city's Historic Preservation Society, a woman with influence and a reputation for brutal honesty. She'd insisted on taking my number after I'd patched up her Buick. Not many young men know how to treat a machine with respect anymore, she said, eyes sharp, memorizing me. I didn't know then just how perfectly timed our encounter was. That night, at the dinner table, the air grew heavier with every passing course. Emma's parents whispered barbs disguised as questions. So, still working that garage job? Her mother asked. Yes, I said evenly. The same garage that rebuilt the mayor's collection last spring. Her father scoffed. Luck, nothing more. Emma fidgeted. She wouldn't even meet my eyes. And then, like thunder, the front door opened. Margaret Wilkes stepped in, dressed sharp, commanding the room with nothing but her presence. Sorry to intrude, she said. I just had to meet the young man who saved me this afternoon. Her eyes landed on me. There he is. Emma's parents froze. They knew her. Everyone did. She smiled at me, then turned to them. You didn't tell me your daughter was seeing him? The silence stretched until it snapped. What followed was art. Margaret praised me in ways they could not refute. My skill, my patience, my integrity. She told them she'd already spoken to the preservation board, how she intended to hire me to restore their fleet of vintage cars, a contract worth more than her father's yearly salary. Her mother's fork slipped from her fingers. Her father paled. Emma just stared at me, realization dawning too late. I held my composure, but inside, I savored it, the slow, crushing weight of their pride collapsing on itself. The revenge wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Weeks later, their perfect Daniel was announced in society pages, not as Emma's fiancé, but as another woman's. The engagement deal had evaporated, and Emma, she was left clinging to silence, watching as the man her parents despised rose higher than they ever imagined. I didn't need to humiliate them publicly. I let their own arrogance do it for me. I think back to that night often, to the grease on my shirt, the disdain in their eyes, the sound of Margaret's voice turning the tide with a single sentence. Emma once told me her parents could make or break anyone. She was wrong. I don't need their world. I built my own. And when the pieces of their perfect plan lay shattered at their feet, I walked away without looking back. Because revenge isn't always fire and fury. Sometimes it's patience. Sometimes it's letting them choke on their own poison while you breathe easy. And I've never breathed easier.